Hey y'all, I was just reading the book of Job, and one of his friends was talking about flattering people, and it reminded me of a few other passages in the Bible, and I wanted to analyze these passages and explain a few things about how we as followers of Yahushua HaMashiach, which is Jesus the Messiah, how we should not flatter people. Now, I know you may not understand what I mean by that, but I'm gonna explain it. In Job chapter 32, verses 21 through 22, Job's friend Elihu, he was talking to him, and he was warning Job that he was going to express his opinion to him, but he was letting him know that he's not going to flatter him. All right. And the verse is, he says, "Let me not, I pray, show partiality to anyone, nor let me flatter any man, for I do not know how to flatter. Else my maker would soon take me away." Now again, this is Elihu, Job's friend, talking to Job, and he's telling Job that he's going to talk to him, but he's not going to flatter anyone. Sorry about all that noise. I'm in the industrial area right now. But the reason he told Job this is because of his fear of God. He said, "I do not know how to flatter, or else my maker would soon take me away." So what this shows that these people had integrity. He was scared to flatter people, which means tell people what they want to hear. Sugarcoat things. This guy Elihu, he was showing honor and integrity in his heart, and because of his fear of God, he did not tell people what they wanted to hear. And I just figured that that's one thing that we should keep in mind in our relationship with God today. God doesn't really want us flattering people. A lot of us, we try to show love to people, so we just tell them nice things, even if it's not true. But that's not really what he wants us to do. So I'm going to read these other passages that reinforce that passage. Now, this is Paul talking in Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 4 through 6. "But as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel, even so we speak not as pleasing man, but God who tests our hearts. For neither at any time did we use flattering words, as you know, nor a cloak for covetousness. God is witness. Nor did we seek glory from man, either from you or from others, when we might have made demands as apostles of Yahushua," which is Jesus. So what Paul is saying is that when he was spreading the gospel, he had power. He had power to make demands. He had power to do wicked things. He had power to boost people's heads up and tell them flattering things. But as he said, we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel. "Even so we speak not as pleasing men, but God who tests our hearts." So instead of choosing to please man by flattering them and telling them what they wanted to hear, he made a righteous decision and chose to please God. And he says, "For neither at any time did we use flattering words." So this is Paul in the New Testament saying the same thing as Elihu, Job's friend, in the Old Testament. Both of these forces, a lot of people like to say that the New Testament and the Old Testament isn't the same, but if you really study the Bible, you'll realize that the New Testament reinforces the Old Testament. Both of these passages are saying the same thing about how we should not flatter people. Paul was scared to flatter people, and Job's friend was scared to flatter people. Now in Proverbs verses 29, verses 5, it says, "To flatter friends is to lay a trap for their feet." I'm gonna read that again. "To flatter friends is to lay a trap for their feet." So when you flatter your friends, you're laying a trap for them. So when you tell people what they want to hear, you're making their situation worse. All right, so if your friend is in trouble and you just want to boost their head up and you just want to be nice to them and stuff like that and just tell them something that won't offend them, then you're going to make their situation worse. I didn't make this up. That's just the principles of life. It's a spiritual battle. We can't really get around spirituality. That's just the consequences. If you lie to people and tell them what they want to hear, the result is going to be havoc. I just realized that my phone went dead. So I had to, when I was going to read Proverbs chapter 26, verses 24 through 28. And what it says is, "Whoever hates disguises himself with his lips and harbors deceit in his heart. When he speaks graciously, do not believe him. For there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred be covered with deception, his wickedness will be exposed in the assembly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and a stone will come back on who starts its rolling." A lying tongue hates its victims, and a flattering mouth works ruin. So in this passage, we see a lying tongue compared to a flattering mouth. So when you flatter people, you will be considered a liar. All right. A lot of the times we want to tell people what they want to hear. I think we get love confused with telling people nice things. See, that's Satan at work right there. Love is not telling people nice things. Telling people nice things, whether it's true or false, that's actually hate. So we have to have discernment and be led by the Spirit of God, and keep this in mind in our walk with God, because the Bible emphasizes greatly on how we should not flatter people. And the last passage I want to read is Psalms chapter 12, verses 13. May Yahuwah cut off all flattering lips and the tongue that speaks proud things. May Yahuwah cut off all flattering lips and the tongue that speaks proud things. So the Bible, the Word of God, emphasizes the importance of us not flattering people. We have to keep that in mind. A lot of times when we're spreading the gospel and we're living a life pleasing to Yah, a lot of the things that we do aren't going to please other people. We're going to upset some people because we're not doing it for them. We're doing it for Yah. So you have to understand, sometimes you may upset your friends. You're not going to be able to always please them because you're going to have to sacrifice, the acceptance of the world to be accepted by Yah. So keep that in mind in your relationship with Yah.